She was gone. No heartbeat, no breath. For 25 minutes, Melissa Hartman was clinically dead. Doctors were preparing to call time of death when her heart suddenly restarted. No brain damage, no lingering effects. She sat up and asked, "Where's my daughter?" What happened in those lost minutes? A glitch in biology or something divine?
I was 37 years old, a wife, a mother, and for 25 minutes, I was dead. The day started like any other, a cool spring morning in rural Indiana. My daughter had just left for school. I was sipping coffee, folding laundry, thinking about the grocery list, the most ordinary things in the world. And then, nothing. No pain, no warning, just a snap, a blackout, like someone flipped a switch. I collapsed in the hallway. My husband, Mark, found me less than a minute later. He was upstairs and heard the thud. He says I was lying completely still, eyes open, lips blue. He dialed 911 with shaking hands and tried to perform CPR while shouting my name. "Come on, Melissa. Come on." Paramedics arrived fast, less than 10 minutes. They used the defibrillator. Once, twice, 3 times. I didn't respond. My pupils were fixed, my skin cooling. In the ambulance, I flatlined again and stayed flat. By the time we reached the hospital, I had no heartbeat for nearly 25 minutes. They tried everything, CPR, meds, nothing worked. My body showed all signs of death, brain function absent. The attending physician later told me, "We were preparing to stop, to call it." Then, it happened. One nurse, a woman who'd been silent the whole time, said she felt something. She stepped close to me and whispered a prayer. "If you're still in there, come back." Moments later, the monitor beeped. Once, then again. A rhythm. I was back. No one could believe it. Not only was my heart beating, I was breathing on my own. A few minutes later, I opened my eyes. The doctors expected brain damage, but I recognized everyone. I spoke. I asked where my daughter was. "Is she okay? Did she make it to school?" They didn't know what to say. I should have been gone. If you believe that death isn't always the end, that faith sometimes collides with medicine, and that timing isn't always just timing, don't forget to like, share, and follow Lanes and Lanterns. And tell us in the comments, have you ever witnessed someone come back when there was no reason they should have? They kept me under observation for 3 days. Doctors poked, scanned, questioned, and blinked at monitors like they were broken. They couldn't explain it. 25 minutes without a heartbeat, without oxygen to the brain, should have meant brain death. Or, at best, permanent damage. Instead, I was talking, laughing, crying, alive. But I didn't feel like I'd just woken from a dream. I felt like I'd come back from something, because I remembered things. Not flashes, not chaos. Peace. I don't know how long into the arrest it started, but there was a moment, long after everything had gone black, when I became aware again. Not of my body, that was gone, but of being somewhere. It wasn't a room or a tunnel. It wasn't like floating above my body. It was deeper, softer, brighter. The best way I can describe it is presence. I felt like I was held, cradled. No fear, no pain, just an overwhelming warmth that came not from heat, but from love. It didn't speak. It didn't need to. But I knew that it was watching over me. At one point, I tried to look down. I felt as though I was hovering above a sea of shadows. Somewhere in that sea was my body, but I didn't want to go back. And yet, I heard something, a voice, not external, internal. "She's not done." That's all. Nothing dramatic, no flashes, just a gentle insistence. She's not done. And then, I fell. Not in fear, not in pain, but with urgency. I opened my eyes in the ER and asked about my daughter. The doctors called it a spontaneous return of circulation, a rare event where the heart restarts after failed resuscitation. They tried to give it a name, but they couldn't give it a reason. The nurse, the one who had whispered a prayer, just smiled at me the next day and said, "You weren't alone in there. I don't know how I know, but I know. Neither do I, but I felt it too." If you've ever stood between life and death, or loved someone who has, this story is for you. These are the quiet battles, the ones science tries to explain, but the soul already understands. Don't forget to like, share, and follow Lanes and Lanterns for more real stories of miraculous timing and unseen hands. Comment below, do you believe something can watch over us, even when we're completely gone? They sent me home a week later, with no medications, no brain injury, nothing to explain how I was walking, talking, and holding my husband's hand like I'd simply taken a nap. But I wasn't the same. I had returned with something. Not visions, not secrets, just certainty. That moment, the one where I felt held, where I heard the words, "She's not done," had rooted itself deep inside me. And when I looked at my daughter, it rang louder than ever. I came back for her. But not just for her, for others. In the weeks after my recovery, I started getting messages. People who had heard about the story. Neighbors, strangers, friends of friends, asking, "Can I talk to you? I lost someone recently. My dad's in a coma. What do you think it's like? Do you think people hear us when we pray for them?" And I found myself answering, not as a preacher, not as a scientist, but as someone who had been on the other side of silence, because I did believe people hear us. I did believe love reaches through even death, and I did believe that something unseen had intervened. One night, my daughter asked me, "Mom, were you scared when you were dead?" I smiled and said, "No, honey, I've never felt safer." She thought about it. Then she whispered, "I think maybe God wanted you to tuck me in a few more times." I nodded. "Yeah, I think you're right." And I do. There are things in this world that science can't explain, and maybe it shouldn't have to, because not everything sacred needs to be dissected. Some things just are, like mercy, like second chances, like the love that pulls us back from the edge when our time isn't up. If this story reminded you of a moment you can't explain, don't hold it in, share it. Stories like these keep hope alive. Drop your experience in the comments. Someone out there may need it. And if you believe that some lives are handed back for a reason, like, share, and follow Lanes and Lanterns. This is what we do. We illuminate the moments where heaven touches earth.